All right, see, so setting I set the shutter speed to 1 out of 120, and it was the middle of the day. I thought it would automatically lower itself to ISO 100 when I was around an area that was really, really, really light. But maybe it did. Either A, it didn't do that, or B, it did, but it still was blown out because of the sunlight, and it needed to be able to make the shutter higher. So during the day, I don't believe that the problem with the camera has anything to do with shutter speed. I thought that maybe it was setting it too low. It was the opposite. It was actually probably setting it to 180, 240, or higher. It's at night, so there's no way I can really make the video more stable during the day, because like if it was using a 1 out of 240 shutter speed at 60 frames a second with the stabilizer shit on, and that there's really not much better than that you can do. So I got my yearly reminder that it's time to get the fuck out of here, and I'll explain what it is. I did my taxes, and I just realized like 6.5% in New York State, and I think 3.5% in New York City, or the other way around. I forget. I honestly don't remember. I just know, that there are these two entries, and it's, yeah, that's kind of it really does make you wonder. And that amount, honestly, back in the day, it really didn't matter. Like when people would say New York taxes are high, blah. Like when I was, well, firstly, my tax bracket was a lower tax bracket 10 years ago. But even then, like let's say I paid, $1,000, $2,000, maybe $3,000 that I wouldn't pay if I was in Tennessee or Florida. But all my customers were here. Like every one of my customers was here. I was poor. You can't move when you're poor without pain, because when you don't have a job, you have to build up a job. And while you don't have an income after you moved, you're going to be living in, outside, because, and when it comes to, like eating, you're gonna, again, all that stuff. If you're poor and you move and you have a period of time where you have no salary, that really sucks. Like as much as any city or state sucks for living indoors. I don't have that problem anymore, because I have savings. But then there's also the issue of having the, let's say, your business is all in an area. So I used to be my business. So, if my customers are here and I'm the one doing the work, I mean, when I was the only one doing the work and all my business is here, it's not really like you can move. Now I have a business that, I don't have to show up and shit just gets done. There were a few times last year where I realized there were massive giant holes in how we were doing things that needed to be addressed. And I stayed, every day for 12 or 13 hours, showed up around 10 or 11, left at 10 or 12, in the evening, and I fixed, I fixed all the problems one by one by one. And after, you have to do that from time to time, and then shit gets fixed. And but like I did that. I don't think it doesn't really. And thirdly, I really feel like a douchebag saying this, but I don't know why. I don't know why I feel like a douchebag saying this. I shouldn't, because of the amount of work that I've put in at the expense of having a personal life, or any kind of life, honestly, over the past 12 years. But I make more money now. So since I make more money, that percentage is more painful. I mean, A, the percentage goes up as you make more money, but B, the amount of money also goes up as you make more money. So it's like, it's a double whammy. So there's that. So it's more noticeable. And like, once that amount of money is enough that like it actually would kind of pay for a good amount of an apartment for a whole year, it's like, what am I getting out of here? Because before, the value of me being in New York City was I need to be here to do the work. I need to be the one turning the screwdriver. I'm not the one turning the screwdriver anymore. Like, I'm not the one that's doing the soldering. Probably for the, the betterment of my clients. If either of you watched my last video where I was attempting to, the last two videos in the main channel where I was doing a repair. Well, honestly, you guys are on the live channel, so you guys watch the stuff that's on the live channel, which means you saw my last two live repairs, which, yeah. Let's just say it's probably better off if probably better off if I exit stage left, retire while I still have a brand name of being one of the best people in investigative component level electronics repair, and not make an ass of myself into the future, which is what will most likely happen if I continue doing videos, given the performance that you've seen in my most recent ones. I made a decision to retire from that several months ago, and I went back on it for the hell of it, and that was a fairly stupid thing to do. But yeah, so needless to say, you're not going to be seeing me doing those anymore. So Like the value of me being in New York City. So essentially you're paying a tax, but in exchange for the tax, you're getting the value of being here. And the value of me being here versus me being somewhere else, if I'm not the one doing the soldering and I'm not the one turning the screwdriver, what is it? I do YouTube videos, but like YouTube is not really my business or my revenue or my income. Like, I don't calculate my life based on YouTube revenue. I mean, for the obvious reason, Matthew Santoro did a video on this recently. I didn't even know that dude was still around on this platform. But he did a video going over how, he went from like 600 to 3 million views a video into 30 to 40,000. He has no idea why. And most people that do YouTube really don't have any idea why. For instance, like I uploaded a stupid video of Chris almost getting hit by a bike, 240,000 views. I uploaded a video today about right to repair that I thought was really important. A really important video. It's short too, so people can't say this video is too long, I don't want to watch it. Had less than 10,000 views. Like you can't really rely on this platform for income, and that's besides the fact that they delete people all the time. But even then, let's just say that let's say that YouTube was a business. Let's say I actually treated it like a business, which I obviously don't if you just look at the shit that I do on this channel. I treat it like a meme. But like, let's say I actually treated YouTube like a business. Let's say I actually did this as a business, professional editor, professional thumbnails, professional topics. I talked about shit I didn't give a fuck about just so I'd have something stupid to talk about that day. I pandered to my audience at every turn. Videos, like there's no value to me being in New York for the content I make. The only time there's value to being in New York for the content I make is when I do a video on how New York sucks, and it goes viral, like that video on me getting a fine. But then the amount of money I make from the video doesn't really make up for the money I pay in a fine. So it's like that doesn't really fucking count. If I get fined an amount that's greater than the monetization of the video where I discuss the bullshit fine, who gives a fuck? At that point it doesn't really matter. So like the videos and stuff that I do, so like neither the videos, I don't add enough value. How do I put this? There's not enough value added by me being in this city or this state to justify the amount of money additional, I'm not even talking cost of living or rent or anything like that, to justify the additional amount of money that I give New York City and New York State for the privilege of being here, as opposed to being in a state like Tennessee or a state like Florida. I know people that are like, oh, Tennessee, I don't want to go to that backwater place. Or Florida, there's Hicks there. Or like, there's redness. I don't give a fuck. I mean, look where I live. Like, you got crazy weirdo hipsters everywhere that like, I mean, I'm sure that there are weird-ass people in those other states. But like, redneck is just probably a different type of weird than the weird that I'm used to. It's not weird, and I don't think I would particularly care. I don't think I give a fuck. Like, I'm weird. I'm incredibly, incredibly strange, odd, weird, and I've never really kind of fit in here anyway, so I don't think it would matter. Now, I mean, yeah, I'd probably go there and people would say, they see a New York license plate and dislike me for that, but I mean, I live in New York and people dislike me for the shit that I say here, so it doesn't really, like, it's not like a lot would change. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people that just like, looks down on those that live a different lifestyle in the Midwest or in the South or anything like that. I visited Nashville in 2017. I got along with the people that I spoke to. I visited Florida a few times. I never really had any problems. I visited Nebraska, Wisconsin, Maine. I don't, it's because I've met people in New York that to them, like, I mean, the taxes here could be 80% and they would still stay here because they don't want to be around people that think differently from them or that look differently from them or that talk differently from them. Because for all the crap you hear people talk about here about, being against hate and racism and sexism and all that, at the end of the day, there's a lot of bigots here that just, and it's not based on skin color or race or sexual orientation or sex or religion or anything like that. It's just based on, I see you as backwards because of the way you speak, therefore I don't want to be around you. Yeah. Maybe there are people that are backwards. I don't know. I don't really. There's people that are backwards here too. So. yeah, I look at it and it's just like the value proposition just ain't there. The problem I have is that it's really, really difficult to get Erica to go anywhere with me. So I'm probably going to wind up checking out some of these states on my own. I wanted to have her along as company, but like when it comes to travel, she is not a big fan of travel. I wanted to drive. Like she said, what if we take a plane and drive around? But like then I have to rent a car when I get there, and oh my God, have you people seen car rental prices? Holy effing shitballs, man. Like that shit is just insane. Like the shit that you pay for a fucking 2005 Toyota Corolla. My God. Like it genuinely makes no sense. And plus, I kind of want the experience of going from town to town, maybe stay in a motel on the way there for a night. Like, I think that'd be kind of fun. It'd be part of the experience. I really don't want to deal with the TSA and waiting for my flight and them losing bags and all this other stupid shit. Like, I hate dealing with airports. I hate dealing with with flights and flights getting canceled at the last minute, and the plane lands and you gotta wait an hour sitting there until you're allowed to get off the fucking plane, or watching people board a plane. If you want to lose all faith in humanity, watch people board a plane or a bus, or leave a plane or a bus. I mean, it is something else, man. But it just kind of takes away from the fun, the adventure, going around the country. She gets motion sick. I did build a bike because she doesn't get motion sick on the bike. It does get 300 miles of charge, but I don't think taking that Uber to Florida is something that would work. I don't think she'd be up for that. I've barely been able to get her to be up for doing that to Jersey, but I'm gonna check it out. I gotta check it out soon. Like Steve's been giving me shit at work. He said that you've been saying you want to check out Florida for a while and you haven't. Like, come on, do it. It's like, while I hope that Erica would be open to checking it out with me and the ride along the way and the adventure, if she is not, then I will be checking it out on my own. And then, I like Erica. She's a great girl. She really is. But I really don't want to spend the rest of my life in this city. I don't. I don't think she does either, honestly. I mean, I look at her channel, every other video is another stabbing, another shooting, another Asian beating, another stabbing, another shooting, another Asian beating. You'd think she'd be more excited to travel with me, but yeah, to each their own. To each their own. I'm going to be checking this out because I want to make a resolution to myself that this will be the last year that I give 10% of my income to New York State and City for no fucking reason. Like, I want to make this the line in the sand. This will be the end of that. We're not doing that anymore. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It's that combined with the license plate shit that they're doing. License plates on bikes, get the fuck out of here. You will take my bafang out of my cold, dead hands, Mr. de Blasio. I still feel like I really feel strange even being able to contemplate this. It's weird. It doesn't feel earned. I mean, if someone told me 10 years ago that you may be at a point at some point where your income is not based on how many times you turn the screwdriver or how many chips you solder, I wouldn't have believed them. I wouldn't have bought it. And it's weird because even after doing all the work, like, I still don't buy it. Something feels weird about it. And I don't get it. Because I look at that guy that sold his business to Allstate, you know, eight-figure multimillionaire, set for life, doesn't solder. And I don't think that about him. I look at some of the other people in this industry that are, rabid multimillionaires that have probably done less work, made better decisions, made a lot better decisions than me, completely earned their money, not arguing that they didn't earn their money. They were smarter, they made way better decisions, and their risks were not stupid. But I don't think that about others, but I think it about myself, and I got to change that. I got to figure out how to look in the mirror and just think to myself, how many of those gray hairs that could have still been black have to be there before you believe that you're actually kind of deserving or worthy of using your mid-30s to make up for the time that you spent working in your teenage years and 20s. I mean, that was always the point. To bust my balls as a teenager and in my 20s and in my early 30s so that at some point I would have security and I wouldn't have to do, I wouldn't have, I love my dad, but when he was in his mid 40s and early 50s, he had to change careers twice. And he was going to school for like 17 and then to work for like 17 hours. And I don't know, when I'm 50, I don't want to worry about that shit when I'm 50. I want to be able to, I want to get on. Oh, fuck off with the screaming. What the fuck is wrong with you? I want to actually pedal and not use the motor, but I have to use the motor to get past. Yes, hold the phone to your ear. Why? Would kill you to get like a Bluetooth headset or something so you could actually hold your fucking bike. See, this is the reason that bikes are getting license plates. This is why. He's holding the phone to his ear and every now and then looking down at it. I don't know if you can make that out because the ISO is going to be really high because it's late at night. You're why de Blasio is able to argue that you need license plates on a fucking bike. Where was I? Anyway, the screaming is gone now, thank God. But I never wanted to deal with that shit. I don't want to be 50 or 60 or 70 and have to think about this stuff. So I'm going to put my time in now. And it's going to suck, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to build something. But I'm going to lose my mind trying. Or lose my hearing. Oh, Jesus. Stupid train. And I kind of did. I think I did it just in time, too. Literally just in the nick of time. Because if I was still the one doing the board repairs for this business, oh my God, that would be horrible. Thank God I'm not the one that's doing the board repairs for this business anymore. So I got that whole thing of, not having to be the main business, not having to be the person doing the work out of the way at just the right time. See, I'm kind of looking at it. Wyoming, South Dakota, Florida, Texas, New Hampshire. What was the other one? And Tennessee. I think there's another one I'm forgetting. I think I got it narrowed down to Tennessee or Florida. New Hampshire's motto is live free, but they have 2.3% property tax across the entire state. That's not free. That's imprisoned for the rest of your life. So New Hampshire is a little propagandish there. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's better than New York. It's just I don't want to move from 2.3% property tax state to another 2.3% property tax state. Kind of defeats the purpose of doing all this work. You have Texas. I don't know why Florida seems more appealing to me than Texas. I don't know if it's because of the beach. I think a big part of it is the beach. But I should visit Texas. People who live in Texas have a great level of pride for Texas. And I want to figure out what it is about Texas that gives them that level of pride. I'm not saying that it isn't earned or deserved. I just want to, I don't mean that in a challenging way. I mean I want to learn, I actually do want to learn I want to go there and meet the people that have that sense of pride in Texas and learn from them, maybe enjoy some experiences that allow me to understand where that comes from so that maybe I can take part in it someday. South Dakota, I think, is too much middle of nowhere for me. I think I'd probably lose my mind. Like, I'm definitely for a place where you're not crammed like sardines into a tin can, but I think South Dakota or Wyoming is a little too far in the opposite direction for me. I think I may wind up losing my mind. Erica thinks if I move to a place in the middle of absolute bumfuck nowhere, that I would lose it. And I think she's right. And that's kind of what I don't know if Wyoming or South Dakota would do it for me. Because at least in Florida, you have the option to, you got Disney World there, you got Miami, Tampa. Like, there's places that you can travel to, Fort Lauderdale, if you want the restaurant and the tourist and all that experience from time to go see a show or something like that from time to time. Perhaps Wyoming has that, I'm just not sure. Wyoming has the least population of any state, so it's like the opposite of New York. It's empty. I think that would kind of be shocking to me. But yeah, I got to start taking this shit seriously, because if I don't start taking this shit seriously, that's 10% that's going to be another 10% for next year, and fuck that. I got to set my line in the sand now. I got to set it here. I think the line in the sand is going to be, I'm not letting New York take another 10% for the next year. That's just, no. You don't offer enough value. Gave me a middle. The thing, I'm kind of wondering, before I was kind of considering as I need to move the business and me, but the real question is like, why? Seriously, why? Like when I say here that with a pay here for any position and experience, given position and experience level is way higher than you break I fix. I mean that. I see the you break I fix job ads. I see the pathetic garbage pay that they offer technicians and managers. It's horrible. And what's the point of paying people more if at the end of the day you don't trust them? And I do trust my people. I trust them to oh my God, this is so fucking loud. I do trust my staff completely because they're good at their job. The whole reason that they're there is they're good at I trust them completely. Like, yeah, I mean, I joke. I upload videos where, they're fucking around with a Nerf ball, whatever. It's funny. And it's also funny to me that they start playing right after I go to the office and then, one of them smacks the other one in the eye. Like, it was funny, whatever. Maybe I'm a dick for saying that's funny, but I laughed. Everybody here laughed at it. And you saw that in the video, so I'm not the only asshole. But, yeah, I just want to check something on my phone real quick, so I'm just going to go off of the road for a moment. And like the whole point of having people that are of that high caliber, which everybody here is, there's a very high bar to work here, that they meet it, is so that I don't have to, babysit. So why am I stuck in this mindset of the only way that I can leave is if I take this business with me? Don't get me wrong. There are obvious benefits to running a business in another state. There are obvious benefits to running a business in another state. But it's not a necessity. There's still considerable benefits to your own personal taxation on your own income if you are in another state. I also kind of get to figure out if I actually built something. Did I actually build something amazing? If I'm not physically present, I mean, realistically, I've been testing this since June of last year. Let me step back for 2 weeks, do nothing, and then come back in, look at everything, and see how things are. Okay, this is what's screwed up, this is what not screwed up, and I put all that work in. I'm just kind of curious. If I were to do that, what would the results be? And I think the results would be that it's actually a fine business that runs itself. Yeah, because like the entire thing around it has been, why don't you leave? Well, I have people. But why do I have to take the people? Why? I think I'd rather just let life come at me. Now, obviously, a big issue here is that the walk-in business does not match the walk-in rent. But I think it's time, time will tell what happens with that. Time will tell what happens with that. If they come up to me and they say, listen, we want every last penny of back rent, and, paying 3/4 or 4/5 is not good enough for us, even though all of the offices and all of the offices are closed, all the schools are closed, and all your customers moved away. We want the whole thing back. Then you kind of force my hand there. Stuff like that is really going to kind of determine where I go. They play ball, they're reasonable, then maybe it makes sense to stay. I turn in my secondhand dealer license so I can't get fined for secondhand dealer infractions that are made up because I don't have one anymore. That's going to be done very soon. Instead of me making the decision, why don't I let the world make it for me? Because, essentially the best decisions that I've made in life are the ones where I steal credit for something that the world did for me. I will let the external world make the decision for me rather than me feeling like I need to always be in control. Like last year, it would drive me nuts, and 2 years ago, that I do a video on some stupid shit like real estate, and I get 2 million views, and then I do a video on like a board repair that was complex that I really felt proud of, and like 8,000 people watch. I used to try, but why should I try to control what people watch? So I just started, taking my camera to every single real estate meeting I did. I put that up. And the channel was way more successful because instead of me trying to have control the way the world should be, I just take the world as it is, and I kind of let the world tell me what to do. I think it would make sense to do that here, if they say, listen, hey, we want all back rent, and going forward, we still expect you to pay exactly, this insane amount of money, even though everything here is, a lot of businesses left, and the schools were closed and all that. Then it kind of makes sense. It's like, okay, well, fine. Best of luck. Best of luck finding someone else to pay $13,000 for this. I wish you the best of luck in finding someone else to pay $13,000 for this. When half of the city's retail real estate is fucking vacant. Good luck. Good luck to you. And it makes sense to start transferring people. Or at that point, if there's no real path to profitability here, then it doesn't make sense to be here anyway. But if it does make sense to be here, if people are able to run things without me being physically here and I can remotely manage and solve problems and all that, then, and landlord is able to really play ball, I'm able to live somewhere else, then why would I, feel this need to take everybody if they don't want to go? If I get bored, maybe I open a little one-room shop. I open a one-room shop wherever the hell I go to. Nashville, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Polk County, whatever the hell. I do stuff there. Maybe as I slowly grow something, if I do decide that I want to slowly grow something, I find people that don't suck, that are willing to come by, work there. If the New York business blows up, then I just transfer all. What the fuck? What is he yelling at? He sounded like a monster from Resident Evil. My God. Someone was literally yelling like a monster out of Resident Evil. I don't know if you heard that. That scared the piss out of me. Wow. I haven't heard that sound since I played Parasite Eve 2 in 2001. Jesus. Yeah. So you could always redirect mail-in business to a different address, and now more than 50% of the business is mail. I think 55. It was at the peak. It was 70%. So now it's closer to 55%. It's like 55% mail-in. So I could kind of redirect that somewhere else. But that's not, obviously changing the address on the website is not the issue. The issue is finding people to do the work. It's actually finding people to do the work. And what I find is if the business is able to run itself, then it's probably easier for me to solve the issues involved in running owning a business remotely than it ever could possibly be to find people who know how to do all the shit that we do here in another state. But I think it kind of starts with leaving. Yeah, it definitely starts with that. Man, just like seeing that, like, I know the number's there. It's just different when you actually have it get taken from you and you get to see it. It's like, damn. 6.5% state, 3.5% city. I think that's what it is. I don't remember the exact number. Something like that. Or the other way around. Oh shit. Or maybe it was 5.5 and 2.5. I don't remember the exact number. It was high enough to get me to think about this and do this video. This is something I don't think a lot of people get when they argue about taxes and living in New York City. Like for most people, taxes are not the reason that they choose to live someplace, especially in the younger stages of your life. If you have a job opportunity that pays you $150,000 a year here, and you have to pay an additional 10% in tax, but you live in your hometown of Casper, Wyoming, or something, and your best opportunity there is $30,000 or $40,000, you're not really griping on the 10% tax. So it often shows an out of touchness to me when I see people talk about how the reason that someone would New York is bad is because of taxes, because they don't take into consideration the entirety of a person's living situation. And I know people who moved here that make $90,000 that in their hometown were making $7 an hour as a mover. Now they make $90K. Do you think they care that the state takes an additional 7 or 10% of their money? Not really. I mean, of course, obviously they care, but it's considerably better than their old deal, even when you factor in cost of living. I think I'm just kind of at that stage in the curve where it doesn't make sense for me anymore. I'm kind of excited to get some travel in. I'll be sad if there's no Erica to keep me company, but I'll kind of be happy when I see the exiting New York State sign. I wonder if there is one. There's a welcome to Brooklyn sign, but is there an exiting New York State sign? I want to see. I'd like to see. Ah. Someone asked me why I turn my head so much. I feel bad for them if it makes the camera messed up for them, but I really like to be aware of my surroundings at all times. I honestly feel more safe on a bike than I do in a car, even when I'm in a road with a lot of people going fast and trying to pass me and stuff, because I feel like I have better vision. You know, the car, I forget what you call it on the car, but you have this thing and then that thing, and it blocks so much of your vision. And what I like about being on a motorized bicycle, even if I have no armor, I feel like my ability to be agile, but also my better vision makes me more safe than if I was in a vehicle. I genuinely feel more safe. I feel like I'm less likely to hurt someone else, most certainly less likely to hurt someone else. And also, I know how wide I am, specifically. You know, with a car, it's difficult to tell. It's difficult to tell in a vehicle. Yeah, because it's so much, because like here, the vehicle I'm traveling on is as wide as I am. So I know that if I'm squeezing in between some place, or if someone's next to me, that there's no way that I am going to even potentially go near them. I really kind of like being able to see everything around me with no obstructions. But yeah, I'm constantly looking at stuff. Always looking around. With my peripheral vision, but also looking around, turning my head, in addition to me just using my peripheral vision. I have never hit another human being or crashed into another cyclist. And the only time I ever got hit by a car was when they did not use their turn signal and they made an abrupt turn while not using their turn signal after making an abrupt stop. And I still feel bad about that. But the reason that I've never hit another cyclist, never hit a pedestrian, never myself been the person to hit a car is because I'm always looking around all the time. And I like being able to have that record. Just because I don't have a motorcycle's license, just because I drive an illegal vehicle or ride an illegal vehicle does not mean that I don't try to be responsible. If anything, I think that if you are riding something that is illegal, that the onus is on you to be even more responsible, because it's illegal for a reason, and it's up to people who utilize that device to prove to the world why it shouldn't be illegal, or why they shouldn't be afraid of it or afraid of you, and why that is ridiculous. And More Resident Evil noises over there. I wonder if Florida has Resident Evil noises. I imagine it depends on the section of Florida that you're in. There is that whole meme of Florida man, but I don't know if that's because Florida people are crazier or if because all the arrest records are public there, so it's easy to figure out, to hear all these crazy stories of all the crazy people. But like, you see how that person kind of walked out on the road and he didn't say hi or fuck you or get out of here or how's your day, but he just went. That's just weird. It's one of those uniquely New York things that I'm used to it, but I don't want to be used to it, if that makes sense. Like, why am I used to that? Why? Like, why is there a Tyrannosaurus Rex yelling at me as I go down the street? That's fucking weird. Makes no sense. I don't understand what you stand to gain from being a T-Rex or a Resident Evil zombie. That's the second one, at least the one that was, got close enough to the microphone that there's a remote chance of anybody else hearing it. But like, why? What do you get from being a T-Rex? I don't understand. I can't really even help someone if they do that. Like back in 2011 with the supply business, every now and then there'd be some people in line for the homeless shelter, and sometimes there'd be people that didn't make it in, or because there was a homeless shelter or something like that that was right next door. And I'd say, I'll give you 50 or $100 to help me pack some boxes for an hour or two, if I'm really, really behind. And they work their balls off for the hour or two. But I say, here, I'll give you $100. It's 65 degrees. I have the air conditioning cranked. I know they don't have any AC in there. I'll get you some food. I'm ordering from Muscle Maker Grill. But I need you to be able to communicate with me. That was actually wound up being a stupid thing to do because 2 out of the 3 times that I did that, I got burglarized by the people that we did the work. They actually did do the job. I'll give them the credit for doing the job. But then right after they did the job, they went to my RMA pile and started stealing shit. This is before I had cameras, but since I was the only other person with them in the room, it was obvious. Sometimes I would help. Like, not every time, but sometimes. Just not much I can do with the whole zombie thing. All right, everybody. I'll see you all later. Home sweet home, man. Shams Aldin Food Market. This is a deli on the corner near where I live. It's funny. They actually have this bulletproof glass shit that turns around, so late at night you can't walk into the store, but they only have this little thingy that you turn around. So that you can't, shoot or stab someone through the window. Anyway, time for me to cut off the recording. See you all later. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next one.